Hi there, I'm Nu-Trix, and today we're looking into Galaxia, but the VST version. Now, Galaxia is a synthesizer combinator, I would call it, from Roland. It's a great place to combine 4 different synth from the Roland cloud into a massive synthesizer. It's a super synth using all the synth that you have in the Roland cloud. You can combine them into Galaxias, but at the same time, Galaxias is a great place to browse your sound and all the patches available. It gets interesting to think about the differences in using it as a VST inside a song and using it as a standalone. Now, I would say that it's a great software as a standalone for, and in my view, for somebody who plays live. The person who wants to have separate section on the keys and have some, something in the lead, something that plays everywhere, and then maybe a drum that follows the person, maybe a section for the bass, like a one-person orchestra, basically. But then this is really cool live, but when you go in the studio, why do I have everything on the same patch? Because for what I understand, Galaxias doesn't have multiple outputs. Maybe it's something that come one day, please. That'll be cool to have. So I'm going to give you 3 tips on getting the most of Galaxias in VST mode. Tip number 1, keep it simple. It's easy to try to put so much stuff into one patch that becomes so big. Meaning, I want to have a big sound. I go new scene, and I'll say, I'm going to have, I don't know, I'm going to look for pad, this one. Okay, then I take another one, GD800. Okay, let's say. This is at least interesting because you get a different sound right away. Jupiter warm pad, here you go. And the last one is going to be System 8, slow-mo pad. What is this? I'm not saying it's bad, but this sound's going to be so big in a mix because you only have like 4 different pads playing at the same time. It's just a massive sound. It's going to be hard to make it fit with other things. So be simpler. If you want to combine pads together, think about where they fit and what's interesting about each of them. I don't know, like take this one, for example. Put in solo. Maybe you put this, you verify that it's in mono instead. Maybe you limit certain thing about it. Or you just say, I want to have this one and this one, and that's going to be enough. Because I still need the space in the bottom for the bass and maybe some place in the high end for the lead. So maybe the Jupiter and the System 8, they're just too much at that point. So think about keeping it simple because it's easy to overdo it and then it becomes difficult to manage in a song. Tip number 2, use the range in your advantage. When I say range, I mean key range, the key sections. If you go into edit here, you see all the section of all the different keys, the 4 different layers. Let's say Jupiter 8, maybe we keep this one for the low keys up to C3, and this one only for C6 and more. When you go higher than C6, you have the 3 synth playing. Middle, you only have these 2. When you go to the bottom, now they're playing the same type of sound, but you could say, well, it's going to be bass, it's going to be lead, it's going to be a piano. So that's where combining them will push it further. Example, I did some of my own. So in the first one here, this one, there's nothing playing here. It only plays when you get to high keys. It's a string, it's a violin or of some sort. Then you get to this one, my electric piano. Now this one takes the whole keys from the bottom to the top. Okay. And if I go here, got string with fast attack. And it sounds more like a solo instrument. And then when you get to the last one is more of an orchestra. You combine the two of them. So that's why I still have the two at the same time, because you've got kind of the solo instrument at the front and you've got a violin at the back. And when you bring all of them together, you have tip number 3, use the Galaxias features. It has other features that go beyond the original synthesizer, like an arpeggiator, LFOs, controls. Use it. You know, the range also is part of it, but use it because you can create something much more interesting than the original one. So I did this one. As I go down the keys, I only have this one playing, the number 2, and if I go up the keys, so if I play now, see, I've got 2 different arpeggiators playing at the same time, 2 different sounds. But if I press, I'm playing with arpeggiators and the fact that they're not the same on the 2 synth. Now you can use, if you go to instrument, you can use the internal arpeggiator that you have here. You click here and you see the full screen. So we got the tempo sync arpeggiator. This one is at 1/8 of a note. And the other one here, it's not even using this. It's not even using the arpeggiator from the internal synthesizer. It's using the sequence that is here. So if I press a key, see this one? It uses the internal arpeggiator, which as this one is not even turned on here. So this one is using the internal arpeggiator of the Juno 106. So use this, combine these in ways that you can actually use it. It becomes more alive. Next one I want to talk about is the LFOs. It's also something that is built in that a lot of people forget about. Like this synth here. I'm pressing one key. If you look at all the keys are being pressed here, but if you look at the mix, we hear this one, then we'll hear this one, then we'll hear this one, then we'll hear this one. And these are kind of changing. If I listen to just one, listen to this one now, goes in and leave and come back, goes in and leave, and this one. So what's happening? I have here an LFO that is in triangular shape, rated at 1 for the tempo, 1 bar, and it's in sync, and it's going to link, I just linked it to the patch level of 2 different synthesizer. So if I go back to instrument, I went to this one, and I said, well, I'm going to sync this to the volume. So you see this one here is moving, following this. And I did the same thing on the other one, this one here, but I clicked on invert, so now it's doing the other way around. See the movement here? So it means that when I press a key, this one comes in, whereas the other one goes out. And if I go like this, even if I go like this, that can be even more obvious if I go like that. Wait a sec, I'm going to play that part. Let's say I choose this one here. Let's see when it goes really loud and then jumps to the other one. Or the other one, or the other way around. Or you can say, I don't want that much, I want just to have half of it. And if I pan then left and right, so use this, just use it to make it something more interesting than the original that you had. Now, of course, you can just add an effect to this. Let's just add a delay on this one. There you go. Keep it simple. Use the key range to your advantage. And think about this, how you lay out all the sounds. And use all the internal features that is specific to Galaxias. Of course, search your sounds. But, I mean, you have access to LFOs. You have access to separation of the keys, of course. Pan, left and right, effects, arpeggiators. Just use it. And you'll bring life to your sound, but keep it simple. That's it. Stay safe, make more music, and see you soon. Cheers.